Hello, I'm Ben from Matrix Multimedia, and today I'm going to be showing you the USBserial component for Flowcode. Here I've got a basic program that I've developed to show you how easy it is to get data from from a microcontroller into a computer via USB. What I've used is the USBserial component. So to get this into my program, all I did was click here on the USBserial icon, and then up pops this box. If we take a look inside the properties for the component, then you can see we've got things like vendor ID, product ID. We've got a name of the device and a manufacturer, and we've also got a thing called enumeration wait. What this does is it makes the microcontroller wait for the USB to become active. So when the initialize function is called for the USB, it'll sit and wait for communications to be established. If we don't want it to do this, then we can tick this box and we can give it a timeout, and then if the device fails to initialize, we can always try again later on. So I'm going to make it wait forever because it's going to be powered from the computer anyway, so we want it to connect straight away. And I'm going to generate a driver file to go with this USB component. So all I have to do is generate a driver file button, give it a file name, so I'll overwrite this driver1 button, click save button, and that's the driver done. So click OK, and I'll explain the little program I've got here. What I'm calling is a simple component macro. The first one calls the USBserial component, and it's just a simple initialize. There is a return value if we want to see if the USB is initialized okay, but I'm not going to worry about that for now. Then we have an infinite loop. So inside this loop, the contents will run forever while the system is still active. Inside the loop, I'm calling another component macro, and this time I'm going to be using the keypad, and I'm going to get the ASCII value of the keypad. And I'm going to save this into a variable called keypadIn. Then I've got a decision icon, which is saying if keypadIn is less than 255. If the keypad isn't pressed when we sample it, then we'll get a value of 255. Otherwise, we'll get a value less than 255, so it'll be the ASCII value for 0 through to the ASCII value for 9, and then ASCIIs for star and hash. So if we've received something on the keypad, then we're going to call the USBserial component again, and we're just going to send a byte, which is our keypadIn value. Then I'm just going to have a bit of a delay so that we're not constantly sending data to the PC. So I'm going to save the program, and I'm going to choose a target. So chip target. You can see I've got the ECIO 40 selected. If you wanted, you could use the microchip full speed USB board, or you could use the MIAC or the Formula Flowcode buggy, or you could use one of the microchip bare PIC micro devices such as the 18F2455. So we're going to use the ECIO 40, and let's have a quick look at the hardware I'm going to be using. So you can see I've got my ECIO device plugged into the USB, and on port D we have a keypad E-block. If you don't have a keypad, then you could use switches or an analog value or something like that. What this demo's really showing is how you could get your variables into your PC and then use that to debug your programs or to replace legacy comport devices, anything like that. So here we are, back to our program, and I'm just going to click the compile to chip button. What this does is it takes my Flowcode flowchart, and it compiles it into C code, and then from there it generates a hex file and it spits out assembler as well. So you can always go through and look at these code files to try and get an understanding of what's happening behind the Flowcode scenes. You can see that the compiler is now asking for the ECIO to be connected. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to push the reset button on the ECIO, There you can see the ECIO has been programmed. Okay, so now our program's on board the ECIO. We want to go to install from a list, and then I'm going to browse to the inf file I created, which I placed on my desktop. Click next. Choose the right driver file, so we're using the Ben keypad driver I created before. Click next. Click continue anyway. This is just basically saying that Windows has not been tested for use with this particular device, because obviously we've just created it in Flowcode. And that's the driver installation finished. So I click finish button, and now if I want to see the device in action, I can just use a comport monitoring program such as Hyperterminal. So what I'm going to do is click start, click run, type in Hyperterm, click OK, create a new connection, so I'll call this Ben1. Choose the comport for the device. If you don't know what your comport is, then you can click you can right click on My Computer, Properties, Hardware tab, Device Manager, and in the port section here we have Ben's keypad COM10. So choose COM10, click OK. Baud rate's fairly arbitrary. I normally go for 19.2K. Set the flow control to none, because it's all USB. Flow control is already there. And now what I can do is, by pressing the buttons on the keypad, I can enter data into Hyperterminal. So that could be a simple method of inputting data or troubleshooting your programs or anything like that. Thank you for watching.